Kilo, John, Niner, Delta, Kilo. How copy?
Is that last Delta Kilo? Is that a Roger?
That's affirmative, affirmative.
Yes, sir, Delta Kilo. And what's the name there?
The name here is John, Julia Alpha Hotel November, location Julia Alpha Hotel.
Yes, sir. One more time. Was that Don or Dan?
John, Juliet, Oscar, Hotel, November.
Oh, I was copying it as Don. Right. Okay, John, is that a Roger?
That's a Roger. That's a Roger.
Roger, John in Indiana, and running that FT-991A. This is the, Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, and what we do is help assist folks in setting up their radios, if you would like to do that. That radio is what year was that radio? Is this an older radio?
Maybe I've had it probably about 3 or 4 years. I wouldn't consider that old. But I wouldn't consider that old. About 20 watts. Today, since you couldn't hear me too well, I cranked it up to 40 watts. But it's really new to me.
Yes, sir, John. Now, I'm interested in that. Why do you not run it at what it was designed to operate at 100 watts, Roger? Why do you operate at lower power?
Roger, I find it enjoyable or interesting to see how well I can do on 20 watts. And I only bring the power up if conditions are requested by the other operator. So I guess I'm sort of a fan of low power operation.
Roger that. Well, we are recording now live till 5, and if you would like to put your best foot forward, it would be, interesting to do that. That would give us the clearest recording of your transmitter, and I could hear you a little bit better. Roger, Roger?
Roger, give me a second to change my power level.
Now, do you do that with a pair of pliers, a sledgehammer, or how do you do that?
This is Kilo Golf, Niner Delta Kilo. How copy now?
Oh, that's a lot better, John. I personally would run it that way. I mean, I have been always taught to put your best foot forward. In the world of recording, you're always looking to capture the best recording possible. Roger, Roger?
I understand your philosophy there. However, like I mentioned before, I'm more in a low power unit. You might give me the name of the net that you are calling on. I didn't quite get all of that.
Yes, sir, John. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. Qso-Vlog net. We've been running at this time on this frequency for the last 6 years, Roger.
Roger, this is, of course, my first time to checking in. I just occasionally check in. As a matter of fact, I've got a preset frequency here of 7.188, and the name I gave it was... wow, that name doesn't seem to add up. I got 3905 CC-late, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to go back and look at my records and see what I was trying to do there. I don't operate too much. Mostly I used to have the solder in my hand a lot more than in my microphone. Back to you.
Yes, sir. Well, we are recording now and have been, and if you would like to hear that radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording on a YouTube search, and we will have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger, thank you very much. And with that kind of operation and with that kind of what you're trying to do, I see putting my best foot forward would certainly make it sound, would be the best thing to do. What was the, so I guess you just barely was copying me at 40 watts, is that correct?
Well, I could hear you in there, but you did have quite a bit of noise with you, and as you pumped it up from one stage to the next, your audio started to come up above the residual noise, so at your last stage you were probably about 7 dB above my residual noise level, Roger. And we're located right by Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky. Roger?
Roger that. That's interesting because I've been checking into a lot of nets with just 20 watts. And of course, a lot of things happen nowadays with radio signals. But Louisville is not that far from me. You're just about 70 miles south of where I'm at. What kind of antenna are you running?
This is a resonant-tuned dipole antenna. Resonant-tuned dipole antenna, broadside one leg to Montreal, Canada, and broadside the other leg to Miami, Florida.
Roger. I think that might be our differences. I'm running an off-center dipole with the apex about 26 feet. And it runs east and west. And if I understand right, yours is running sort of north and south. And that's probably the difference in what I see from checking into other locations with just 20 watts and having to crank it up to about 100 watts here. And by the way, I didn't have to use a sledgehammer. All I got to do is punch RF power and turn the multiple function knob, and it just takes about 5 or 6 seconds to do that, as long as my memory serves me right. Sometimes I do forget things. This is KG9DK, back to net control.
Roger, John. Well, you're beautiful there out in front of everything with that, the way you have it running at the moment. And a lot of nets are not concerned necessarily with quality of the incoming signal. They assume that the operator has done everything he can to make his radio sound as best he can, and they don't really have any guidance as far as, this sounds better, this sounds worse. All they do is take a call sign and you're into the system, and that's it, But our net is all about trying to get the best we can out of everybody's radio. Roger?
Roger, yeah, I appreciate that, and I can understand your philosophy on that. I might be coming back more often and maybe checking one antenna versus another antenna at my best power output.
Yes, sir, John. Well, may I suggest that if you were to construct another dipole, and that dipole ran north and south versus your east and west, or your east and west and your newer north and south, you would have a different angle of the dangle, so to speak, on receiving signals. And if you had a two-position switch, you would be amazed at the difference the one antenna running one way would be versus switching to the B side and getting the other antenna. So it might, like I say, you might find it interesting if you're going to construct another antenna system, another dipole system, that they run one way and the other way. Then you would have a definite difference between your receive signal, and there's nothing better than having the right antenna at the right place, and one running east and west, and if the signal's coming from north and south, is makes a big difference. Roger?
Roger that. Yeah, I sort of believe that a lot of it has to do with antennas on both ends. Of course, power is in there too, but I put a lot of stock in trying to have my antennas good. I live in a mobile home park, so I don't have many options. The one option I might have later on this year, I bought the ARL infed antenna, and I've yet to install it. unfortunately, we'll be running the same east to west. That's my only solution at this point in time.
Roger, John. Well, you know, there's always loop antennas, vertical loop antennas. It's amazing what you can do there. You can use them in a multitude of ways. Their ability to cancel certain things is much stronger than their gain, so to speak. And so I've got three 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas out back there that I can run, and I've got one that I've just tuned for the noise factor, and I can rotate that antenna to cancel noise, and I'm canceling out probably about 15 dB of noise. Roger, but what that means is that I'm canceling the noise, but it may not be in the exact best place to capture the incoming signal of a station, but it is in the best place for reducing noise. And I'm talking about if you go 2 dB, 2 degrees one side or the other of the absolute null point, you can hear noise start to come up. It's that sharp, Roger.
Roger that. Yeah, I agree. I built a 4-foot diameter loop, but I never did get to the point where I connected to the radio. I ran a lot of SWR with instruments on it, and the biggest thing I have had with me in loops is remote tuning. I want to sort of lick that problem before I probably tackle trying to go to a loop again. I did make about a 20 mask for my off-center. I did make about a 30 meters from the ground, and it acts as a infrared antenna with I think a 9-to-1 valve on it, whatever you want to call it, and I use it as a vertical. But here in the city and everything, the vertical does pick up a lot of noise. But it still does work, and it can be used if you had to, and nothing else, you just go with it, but it is much noisier than the dipole. This is KG9DK, back in net control.
Roger, this is KC9VKV. Now, we run quite a few SDRs, too, and hopefully, like what we're trying to do is get the best signal possible from our 100-watt friends. So we have 4 dedicated SDR receivers for Pennsylvania, Virginia, Georgia, and New York. And we have a new one called Hocus Pocus. And what that does is give us about 50 pre-programmed SDR receivers in about 20 states, and I'm just curious. I'm just dialing up my Kentucky SDR, and let me hear you on the Kentucky SDR. Roger.
Roger. This is Kilo Golf 9 Delta Kilo. I would give you a little bit of a test here, but I was going to ask, too, if you have an internet presence. I am assuming maybe if I did a search on Qso-Vlog net, I might come up with a internet location there that would have a lot of information on what you folks are trying to accomplish. Over.
Not really, just very basically. That's basically on the that one would be talking about our main page, Jim's radio story, which is about a 50-year broadcast career, and we have about 2,600 recordings. My mama always told me to get the master of any production, and along the way I did that. So we have quite a few documentaries, full-length music concerts, a lot of stuff, and that's under Jim's radio story. Now, on the Kentucky SDR, I've got you at about 15 over, which is by far the best signal that I've had you, between 15 and 20 over their residual noise level. So it's just a beautiful signal, Roger. Just a beautiful signal, Roger.
Roger that. Yeah, I've got you. You're almost at a plus 10 on peaks, and very clear. No problem with noise at all. You're coming in very well here.
Roger, John. That I just had a look at that signal, and you were 15 over on the Kentucky SDR. I think that's in Lexington, Roger. So the thing was, maybe we're just a little too close, and that Lexington SDR is just doing a beautiful job for you, Roger.
Doing a beautiful job for you, Roger. Roger that. Yeah, it's there's a lot of factors when you start considering radio signals and propagation and noise and antennas. There's a lot of variables there, and if you get everything right, it don't take too much to make a good conversation, good clear conversation. And of course, if you don't get it right, you got to jump more power up there to make it right. I guess that's about it. I'm about talked out, and I assume you're on QRZ, and also I'm going to check out that YouTube probably. You said by tomorrow. I might give it to Sunday before I get over there, and be sure I'd be interesting to hear my signal on the air like that. And I certainly thank you for your service for doing that. This is KC9DK. I'll say 73s and stand by for your final.
Roger, John. Well, yeah, we'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow, so you just go and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, and that'll take you there, and it'll be cut number 1 in a series of 2,700 Qso-Vlog air check recordings. And your signal, it looks to be about dynamic range is about 3 dB, so it's pretty fat, and your average percent of peak modulation therefore would be around 80 to 85%. So you're right there at that perfect place in your modulation level index in going into your ALC. So good job. And we'll say 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and hopefully if you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger. Roger.
Roger that. Thank you again. KG9DK, will be clear.
This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. My name is Jim, Dr. VKV in some sections, but we're standing by and listening. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.